Hey, everybody, welcome to tomorrow's headlines. Today, it's Robin with Fireside Grace Ministries, and I am happy to be here and happy to see y'all as y'all sign in and everything. Remember, like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from because I have some interesting stuff to talk about. As you can tell from the title, I don't typically I don't do a lot of prophecy fulfilleds. I'm not that guy. Everybody sends me the stuff and tells me about the prophecy fulfilled, but I don't typically go out and research them. Well, this one I saw or I heard over the weekend, and I was like, this is an important one to talk about. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, and still it rings. Anyway, this is, I feel like, a pretty important one to talk about because I was told before that it's impossible and had the scripture quoted at me. Yet here we are. All right, let's take a look. And we're going to do a Q&A here also. So make sure that you throw in your questions right over here. For me, it's over here. I don't know what it looks like for you. It may look like over here for you, which is the opposite direction for me. But throw your comments in there with your questions, and we'll give you your answers as best as we can. I'm in a good mood today, so it should be a good Q&A day. My eyes are like extra bright today. Have you noticed that, or is it just me? And maybe it's just the camera. So anyway, let's see. We got Angel in Tennessee. Oh, hey, while we're here, buy some soaps, yo. We got Angel vouch for us. A lot of people buy these soaps. These things are awesome. They work great. They make you feel so clean. They lather up amazingly on anything, whether it's a loofah or a washcloth or whatever. If you're just washing your hands in the sink, they smell wonderful. This one's rose scented. We got magnolia. That one smells great too. This is just plain old goat milk soap that Brandy makes. Generic goat milk soap. It's not scented or anything. It's made from Nubian goat milk, which is the only goat milk that doesn't taste or smell like goat. We got this one. This one's also lavender. It's just a different color. Love it. It smells great. We also have blueberry soaps. The blueberry soap right now is my favorite blueberry soap. And then this is, I don't know, it doesn't smell scented, but it's got some, she put something in it. I don't know. But anyway, it smells a little bit like magnolia. I'm not sure, but we have all the different scents and stuff. It's pretty awesome. Magnolia is my favorite one. I like the way it smells. It smells like roses mixed with something else. Really reminds me of a lot of Jesus. Jesus has a smell. Heaven has a smell. It's not anything on this earth that you can replicate, but it smells awesome. All right, so we want to talk about CERN here for a second. Let me just. I'm about to go a little crazy on people trying to interrupt this. I've been looking up graphene oxide, the mark, core shell magnoelectric nanoparticle material synthesis, and magnetoelectricity applications patents, all kinds of things. Did you ever notice, and I'm just putting this out there, did you ever notice that carbon graphene seems to be taking the medical world by storm? It can be programmed to do things and respond certain ways, and it has been being used to do genetic altering, and it's used in CERN, not CERN, in the CRISPR technology as well. And carbon graphene has 6 sides and forms in 6 shaped patterns. It has 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. So I'm just going to leave that there. Well, while I was looking this up and researching all this stuff about graphene and how carbon just happens to have the numbers 6, 6, and 6 in it. Isn't that very interesting? And it can be used to alter or edit DNA. And this is stuff that I found. I've also discovered, let me see if I can screen share here with you. CERN has turned lead into gold. And this is not something that is brand new. This is something that they have done before. They were not able to capture the process on camera. They just basically speculated that that they were doing it. Let's look at this one here. So they have this apparatus called ALICE, which allowed them to capture this. Transforming base metal lead into the precious metal gold was a dream of medieval alchemists. This long-standing quest, known as chrysopoeia, may have been motivated by the observation that dull gray, relatively abundant lead is of a similar density to gold, which has long been coveted for its beautiful color and rarity. It was only much later that it became clear that lead and gold are distinct chemical elements and that chemical methods are powerless to transmute one into the other. With the dawn of nuclear physics in the 20th century, it was discovered that heavy elements could transform into others either naturally by radioactive decay or in the laboratory under a bombardment of neutrons or protons. Though gold has been artificially produced in this way before, the ALICE collaboration has now measured the transmutation of lead into gold by a new mechanism involving near-miss collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC, which is the Large Hadron Collider. Extremely high energy collisions between lead nuclei at the LHC can create a quark-gluon plasma, a hot and dense state of matter that is thought to have filled the universe around a millionth of a second after the Big Bang, giving rise to the matter we now know. However, in the far more frequent interactions where the nuclei just miss each other without touching, the intense electromagnetic fields surrounding them can induce photon-to-photon and photon-to-nucleus interactions that open further avenues of exploration. The electromagnetic field emanating from a lead nucleus is particularly strong because the nucleus contains 82 protons, each carrying one elementary charge. Moreover, the very high speed at which the lead nuclei travel in the LHC, corresponding to 99.999993% of the speed of light, causes the electromagnetic field lines to be squashed into a thin pancake transverse into the direction of motion, producing a short-lived pulse of photons. Often, this triggers a process called electromagnetic dissociation, whereby a photon interacting with a nucleus can excite oscillations of its internal structure, resulting in the ejection of small numbers of neutrons and protons to create gold. A nucleus containing 79 protons. 3 protons must be removed from a lead nucleus with large hadron collider beams. Okay, so this was May 8th of 2025 that this was reported. All right. Now, we have basically what we can think is if they have let's see if we can change this here. Okay, if they have been sharing, if they just shared this now, what have they done in the past, and how advanced are they already that they're not sharing with us? Something to think about. So they said, oh, yeah, we did this back in like 2018 or something like that. Really? Because when I looked it up, I discovered here, let me show you to the stop screen share here, share screen again. And here we are. So I looked up the patent on this. Let's see if you can see this patent that I'm looking at right now. You cannot. Click there. Let's see if I can find it here. 1 second. Boop. Here, this is it. Okay. So I looked it up to see, is there a patent for turning these things into gold? There is. There is. It's a Google. There's a patent. I found it on Google. This is public information. I am not making this up. I have it here on display for you all to see. Man-made gold and platinum. A man-made method utilizing particles bombardment technique is used to produce gold and platinum. The particle bombardment technique uses particle accelerator to accelerate lithium particles to high speed. These high-speed lithium particles contain high energy. High-energy lithium particles are used to bombard osmium elements. Then the elements lithium and osmium undergo cold fusion process, and they are combined to produce the element of gold. And this goes through an explanation of what gold is, why it's important, And the process in which you can go through in order to do this, in order to create gold and platinum as man-made elements through cold fusion. Oh, wait a second. Stop. Hold up right there. Cold fusion doesn't exist yet. Then how could they patent something that uses cold fusion to create something? That's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? Now, I have prophesied this not knowing that they were already beginning to go through the process of turning lead into gold or creating synthetic gold, man-made gold, if you will. I didn't know that they had already been going through the process to do that. And I had prophesied that we would soon see the release of the technology that we would be able to turn or create our own gold. Just like, when I was in 6th grade, I said to my teacher, why don't we just create diamonds and gems and stuff in a lab? Why don't we just make that? Like, what stops us from doing that? And she said, well, we don't have the technology for that. That might be probably 100 years or hundreds of years from now that we'd even be able to do something like that, because we can't create enough heat or pressure in order to create these things. And I watched a guy make opals in a glass beaker. He made opals. We can make diamonds. And it's only been, I was in 6th grade in 1996, 96 or 97, or 96 and 97. So it's only been about 29 years, and we've been able to make diamonds for years now. I didn't realize I was prophesying, because I said to her, yes, we can make gold and diamond, or we can make diamonds and stuff. Why couldn't we make diamonds? And she said, well, it's not possible. We don't have the technology. I was like, surely we do. And I didn't know when I didn't think anything about extraterrestrial technology or any of that stuff. So here we are. Now, the Bible says the gold is God's and the silver is God's, right? So how does that work out for us? How does that work out for the gold being God? Well, it doesn't say that the man-made gold's not God's still. It's like Jesus said, give to God what's God's and give to man what's man. Or give to Caesar what's his. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the way I see it, we're in everybody talks about, and the reason I want to talk about this is because everybody's talking about the wealth transfer and how we're going to go back to the gold standard and everything. And I haven't really felt that in my spirit that we were going to go back to the gold standard. And I think it would be just for a short period of time. If we do, we could go to the gold standard. We could pay off our debt, but we'd be giving a lot of gold to people, and we'd still have some money left over. And if we didn't stop how much we were spending, then it wouldn't take very long for the debt to pile up, and then we'd be completely broke with no gold, super duper hyperinflation, etc. So switching to the gold standard wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Now, if we control the technology to create gold and we create what we need in order to put it out there, that would drive the price of gold down. Just like having man-made diamonds drive the price of real diamonds down, because you can make bigger, better, more perfect diamonds in a lab for cheaper than you can find a man-made diamond, or a natural grown diamond. And so it affects the price of things. And so with the ability to do this, right now, they can't get it to stay as a piece of gold and keep it that way for forever. They're just creating small amounts, like of hundreds of millions of at least that's what they're telling us. 100 millionth or a 1 millionth of a gram. That's a very small portion of gold there. So it's basically they're creating a little bit of gold dust. So we don't, according to what we have available to us online that they tell us about, we don't have that technology to be able to, create like massive amounts of gold right now. Do I think that we actually don't have that ability? No. But I figure since they're doing this now and they already have this patent that I've already showed you, that was filed in 2007, and the patent was granted in 2008. It says that the I just find that very interesting, and it said the patent was it was applied and it was granted, but then it was abandoned. So the patent's up for anybody to get a hold of. So anyway, I just thought that I would share that. So make sure that you drop your comments into the section here for your questions for the Q&A. Let's see. We got Vibes Animation, Angel. I think CERN did this before. They do it in very small amounts. Yeah. Let's see. I love Magnolia. It makes me squeaky clean. Amen. I hope they can't artificially create silver. I bet they can. I bet they've already done it. My mom had a dream where gold told her I'd be a spirit guardian or something like that. Where God told her he'd be a spirit guardian. Well, I don't think that would have been God telling her that, because he is our guardian spirit, but usually that stuff is new age, and that's talking about your spirit animal and your all of that stuff. And so that might have been a demonic spirit, but God is our guardian. God is our protector. He's our strength and our refuge and our shelter. So it could have been God, but my immediate reaction was that it was a negative thing for some reason. I wonder what purity of the gold it is. I don't know. It'd have to be probably pretty pure if it's just brand new, created with nothing added and nothing taken to it. So it might be a radioactive gold, which might have completely different elements. If you think about it, it becomes an ion or an isotope of some sort, where it has undergone a radioactive transformation. So that might take time for it to settle down and become less radioactive, but there could be all kinds of things you could do with that. And when we've got carbon graphene, and carbon graphene is just something completely different out there. All right, let's see what the purity of gold is. Let's see. God bless you. I had a dream with the number 76. What's the meaning of 76? I don't know off the top of my hand, but 7 and 6 represent divine perfection, completion, completion of a cycle, God, and 6 represents man. So maybe it's God and man. I don't really get into the gematria of things too much, but let's see what is the. We'll look up what's the Hebrew letter for 70. Ayin, which is to see, and then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Vav is the tent peg. So we would have Ayin and Vav as the two letters making up 76, right? So then that would be God's connection to man. Is CERN mining these fake minerals? They're telling us they're not, so I don't think they are. I wouldn't imagine that they have very much room to create much inside of the particle accelerator. You know, it would probably slow down the process of things. So I don't know. But if the process to create it exists and the ability to create it exists, and the mathematical equation is out there, then it must. So drop me your Q&A, your Q&A questions here, and I'll hang out for like a minute waiting on the Q&A questions, and then I'll head over to I'll just end it and get ready for tonight's partner meeting. But you can partner with us. firesidegrace.com/partner with us. You can also buy Brandy soaps and stuff. We got goat soaps. See, it says goat milk on it. We got rose scented soaps, magnolia scented, lavender scented. I'm not sure what this one is, but I don't want to open it to find out, but she's got them packed with her little stickers on there and stuff too, which my camera won't focus on because I told it to detect human faces only. All right. I will wait 30 more seconds for your Q&A, and then I'll wrap it up for the day. People haven't had a lot of questions lately, which is very interesting. And then I'll go and pray. But Anyway, like I was saying, you can partner with us right here, firesidegrace.com/partner with us. Etsy, Peacefield Designs, Brandy's Venmo is Brandy-Cloninger-Cunningham, which is tied to our ministry. Cash Apps, $Fireside Grace, PayPal's @Fireside Grace, and you can always send mail to P.O. Box 1285, Judsonia, Arkansas, 72081. Okay, I don't see any comments. It's been more than 30 seconds, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. All right, love you guys. Be blessed, and I will see you again soon. Until next time, bye.